A stranger becomes you for 24 hours, what is one question they would ask you when the 24 hours is up? Why am I having to put your joints back in place every 5 minutes? If this thread is any indication, we'd probably just look at each other, nod, and go on with our equally WTF lives. If I was you for a day, where did you go? How do you take so many solid good shits in one day? It can't be like that all the time. How do you sleep with those two birds in your room? Why's your life so boring? Why don't you own any shoes? How can your muscles even work when all you do is lie on the couch and watch anime all day? Nothing. They just walk away in silence while avoiding eye contact. What's the worst way to respond to an I love you? Don't. And I love spending time with you. I'm hungry, let's get something to eat. My 8-year-old daughter once responded to my wife, I wish I could say the same. I love your sister. Please get out of my house. Mongolian throat singing. K. Finger guns. Ew. You now have an unlimited supply of the last single item you bought. How awesome is your life now? I'm going to have an unlimited amount of 25-pound bags of rice. I guess I can end world hunger. I've got a lot of printer ink to sell. Got 2 gallons of purified drinking water. I'll rule the world in 60 years. Edit, people in the replies, I am Nestle now. I bought gas for my car. Guess I'm taking over the world. Unlimited IKEA lunch, meatballs forever. Yes. Tons of pairs of jeans that don't quite fit me right? Never paying for a Monster again would be awesome until my inevitable heart attack caused by having an unlimited supply of Monster. Who needs eggs? I now have unlimited Chipotle burrito bowls. I ain't complaining. Ice cream. Oh Lord. How do you stop being a lazy, useless piece of shit? What honestly worked for me was following the 5-second rule. Whenever you need to do something but don't feel like it, immediately start counting down from 5, and once you get to 1, just start doing it. It sounds dumb but works. Realize that motivation is trash and you'll never feel motivated, except to do things that feel easy. Look up Mel Robbins on YouTube. She explains it perfectly. First step, don't hate on yourself so much. You're never going to realize your potential and worth if you put yourself down. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to feel like shit. We all experience this, and for the time and climate we live in, it's fairly standard. Try and do a little bit better every day. Brush your teeth, floss, make your bed, do the dishes, stand when you eat instead of sitting, don't take your phone to the toilet, drink water. The little things will snowball. Once you prove to yourself that you can take care of the little shit, the big shit just becomes groups of small shit. Second step, find something you want to do. If the only thing you want to do is not be a piece of shit, the fire will die quickly. But if you want to be in great shape, or learn an instrument, or play D&D, or hike X mountains, or write a shitty 500-page thriller, or play bar trivia and be good at it, you'll find that as a consequence of these pursuits you drop the piece of shit along the way. Sobriety is okay enough, Denny says, but someday, I'd like to live a life based on doing good stuff instead of just not doing bad stuff. You know. Choke by Chuck Palahniuk. Edit, a lot of people asking about the toilet and phone. The op was about laziness. You're there to take a shit. Get in, get out. Don't get distracted and sit around forever. This is of course self-sabotaging advice, because if we didn't read it on the toilet this post would have gone nowhere. Thanks for the love and responses. I don't have the time to reply to everything. I hope you all find a way to love yourself and thrive in your daily ventures. Find something that pisses you off and get engaged to change it. 4 years ago I decided I'd quit bitching and moaning about climate change and I would fucking act. So I got $20 and a shovel and started down a path that would change my life forever. I planted a fruit tree on my useless grass lawn. 4 years later I have a full-blown food forest and am continuing to expand. It's been fascinating to see what was previously a dead lawn, is now a thriving ecosystem. The bees came, the birds came, the squirrels and rabbits came. The deer came. But then the foxes and owls and hawks came. And even some wolves and coyotes. I'm now pushing out further and further, taking down dead monoculture cedar stand and weed pits, and putting up food systems. I'm digging ponds and putting water in for all the animals that now live on my land. I have surplus food that I donate to food drives. I even have agriculture groups that found out about my place and want to tour my property this fall. All because I decided to stop being a lazy ass, get up off it, and plant a damn tree. In doing so, I found my passion, and even my purpose in life. Not to be a good father and good husband, but rather to engage people to help me save the planet and get more food growing on trees. Help decentralize the food system. I have people from all over the world who watch my videos who tell me that they started systems on their properties on the other side of the planet, all because they watched my videos. It's humbling, and it's amazing what one small act can start. Edit, for everyone asking, got my channel. I have been temp banned before for posting my channel info. If you are smart and creep my post history, you can find it. I recently joined a gym, but I needed some kind of motivation to actually go, so I told myself, there's a B-dubs nearby, if you go to the gym you can go get some buffalo wings right afterwards. It's been such a good motivator that sometimes I just skip the gym, and go straight to B-dubs. Positive reinforcement, my dude. Take pride and feel good about the good choices you make. Don't criticize or condemn the bad decisions. Bad decisions help you learn and make better decisions in the future. I'll let you know tomorrow. Delete Reddit. Try laying the opposite way on the couch today while eating and watching daytime TV. 1. Stop calling yourself a useless lazy piece of shit. 2. Things seem overwhelming if you've let them build up and avoided them for a while. Responsibilities like chores and a job are bills you eventually have paid to yourself in the form of labor. You can't fix it all in one day, it takes time. I was where you were for a long time. Feeling like I was worthless, lazy, etc. Take it a step at a time. Example, dishes piled so high that you can't even get to the sink because you've been wallowing in depression for 6 months and haven't left your bed except to pee and maybe eat. Clear out one side of the sink one day. The next day, wash a few things in that newly cleared sink. Do a little every day, even if it's only a couple of items. Eventually you'll get to a point where you notice the pile getting smaller and smaller. And #X200B. The key is not to beat yourself up over not getting it all done at once, but letting yourself feel good that you did something rather than nothing. Aim low. And #X200B. Do the tiniest thing possible that will make you feel even the tiniest sense of accomplishment. Clean your room if that's too much, maybe just make your bed and that's it. Get those little wins, and use them as momentum to build up to bigger tasks/accomplishments. And #X200B. Forget getting that new job/getting ripped/asking the gorgeous person out. Start with making your bed. When did fake it until you make it backfire? At Nelson Mandela's funeral, people took note of the sign language interpreter that seemed to just be making random hand gestures. https://udo.be/x-dxgoivuo, instead of actual sign language. Turns out he had made quite a few appearances previously and nobody had caught on that he knew literally no sign language. To me, this dude is just the poster child for fake it till you make it. Guy I used to work with told me about when he used to work as an electrician apprentice at a plant. When there was nothing to do, which apparently was most of the time, the lead guy and him would walk out to a random spot in the plant with a ladder, a conduit bender and a bent piece of conduit. Then one of them would stand on top of the ladder and the other on the ground holding the conduit and they'd just chit-chat all day. If any of the bosses wandered by, they'd nod and pass the piece of conduit up to the guy on the ladder, who would then make a show of trying to fit it in somewhere. Said they both made it through 3 rounds of layoffs doing that. This reminds me of a TIFU post where Op moved to a new neighborhood for just a few months and decided to take some LSD to break it in. Op thought it was a good idea to go for a walk, and when he went outside, his new neighbor greeted him. Being on LSD and a bit of an introvert, he avoided conversation by speaking French, as he knew enough to get by and did not plan on staying there for an extended period of time. This went on for about 8 months, longer than he expected to stay there, and eventually the neighbor had a friend of hers over who also spoke French and tried to start up a conversation with him. That's when he was like, "Yeah, I don't speak French. I took orchestra in elementary school and I eventually realized that I was just not going to understand violin. But I still wanted to be in orchestra because it had some perks. So, whenever we had lesson, I put my fingers over the strings and moved my bow around like I meant it. When we had to play individually, I had to do it for real. I thought maybe, by some miracle, I'd get it and play normally. I didn't. Edit. Thanks for the silvers and the upvotes, and thanks for sharing your stories. I was 8 years old and I told my dance teacher I could do a back bend. I couldn't, so she moved me up a level in acro and put me in a special role for our recital. For the next week my mom tried to help me get a back bend, but it wasn't happening and I had to come clean. Luckily she didn't get too mad. I had to move back down a level, but I still got to keep my special role. I had a job that I was way underqualified for, yet I still was surprisingly given the offer. 8 months in, the fact really started to show that I wasn't the assumed genius/savior the hiring manager thought I was. Fortunately, I got offered a different job by someone who wasn't really desperate to hire. A few years ago I got a job interview after months of looking. I was desperate. I thought I was going to be working in the mailroom for the city, but when I arrived it turned out it was for delivering mail between city offices. Okay, no big deal, I can do that. Well, in my province we have G1 learners, G2 still have some restrictions about when/who you can drive with, and G full license. Well, I needed my full G for the job but hadn't gotten around to doing the test. No big deal, I thought, I'll just go along and schedule a test ASAP, hopefully before any paperwork needs to be done. So I went through the interview and I think I'm home free, but no. They want to do a driver's test right then and there, and I need to present my license to the testing company. Thinking quick, I tell them I don't have my license on me. Well, they need it and they were willing to find a city employee to drive me back out to my house, /30 minutes away, and get it. Backed into a corner, I finally have to admit that I don't have my G license. I blurted it out and basically ran out of the office and didn't look back. Still one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. I hired a Mandarin translator for a game I'm developing. Ran her translations through Google Translate, to find they were a good match. Too good a match. Showed it to a friend of mine who's from China, told me the translator just Google translated everything and that the end result was barely comprehensible. Got a job working in an insurance company reviewing contracts. Had no fucking idea what I was doing and thought I could just learn it and I'd be fine eventually. Lasted 6 months and they kicked me out. Okay, I guess it ultimately didn't backfire, but it's a pretty good story I was told in film school eons ago. Back in the 80s/90s, a guy snagged an interview for a camera operating job at a TV production company that was way above his experience level. The interviewer gave him a camera, said okay, take this apart and lay it all out for me. You have 20 minutes, and left him there. After panicking for a minute, he walked down the hall, found a technician working and asked him to take apart the camera for him, which he did. Interviewer comes back, says, "Good work. Now put it back together," and goes off to put out some other fires. Our guy tracks down the tech, who obliges again, and he was hired. When I heard this story, the guy had worked in the field 15 or so years, so I guess things worked out.